Well, well wishes for King Charles and the Princess of Wales continue to flood in, but there have been no heartfelt statements from Harry and Meghan thus far. The Duke of Sussex could well have his head in the clouds as he's set to be named a living legend of aviation this evening in a lavish black tie ceremony in Beverly Hills, hosted by one John Travolta. Buckingham Palace announced on Wednesday that King Charles had been diagnosed with an enlarged prostate and will be undergoing treatment in hospital next week. Harry's relationship with Charles appears to have been strained further today, with Buckingham Palace quietly sidelining the Duke from acting as a Councillor of State, along with his disgraced uncle, Andrew. The removal of the role, which allows senior royals to step up and conduct state business, has been widely seen as a snub. It's also been revealed that the prince may not even have been aware of his father's illness until it was widely circulated by the media yesterday. While efforts were allegedly made to inform all senior royals before the public announcement, California-based Harry, who's 8 hours behind indeed, he may well have seen the news break before being contacted by courtiers. Well, I mean, I think we would all hope that Harry has been in touch with his father and with his sister-in-law privately, although, given their predilection for drama and, you know, publicity on all family matters, he probably will release it to the media if he is in touch with him, just like that private phone call before Christmas. But I think more importantly, actually, we should kind of remind ourselves of what a complete star King Charles has been over the past few days. Yep. He didn't need to tell anybody about his enlarged prostate. And look at the Charles effect. I am so... Before, I was kind of ambivalent about the royals, but I'm honestly, Charles is my absolute hero at the moment. I think prostate cancer is such an important thing to talk about, or just even prostate conditions, not prostate cancer, because it's not always prostate cancer. I think that Charles has been really modern, really brave, really cool about this. Yeah. They didn't even need to say that he was having any procedure at all. They could have just, he could have just been quiet for a couple of days.
And the results have been
recovered
enormous.
Alone. Yeah. The results have been brilliant. The NHS websites had, you know, thousands and thousands of hits, people making appointments to see their doctor. We know that men don't talk about anything to do with their waterworks or anything to do with private matters. They don't talk about health conditions. They certainly don't talk about prostate conditions. My father, as I said yesterday on the talk, had prostate issues and then prostate cancer for 30 years until his death at the age of 92. And I know that, you know, treatments have got so much better. Yeah. And I think it's great that Charles... and I think it's great that he came out about this.
It's certainly great he come out about it. I mean, just circling back just briefly to whether or not they've made a public pronouncement about the health issues. I don't know if they could win on that, to be honest. I'm not their biggest fan, but if they say something, it would either be seen to be mawkish or it would seem to be overblown or hyperbolic. If they said too little, it'd seem to be sort of cursory, and if they say nothing at all, arguably from a PR point of view, in this instance, actually keeping whatever communications there are, as you say, private for now, maybe. But yeah, King Charles, incredible. You know, prostate cancer kills about 12,000 British men a year, which is around about what breast cancer is. Now, you know, women are much better at organising events to highlight breast cancer. But this is on us as blokes, isn't it? You know, we're the ones that could talk about it more. And he's taken that route. And I'll be honest, as a bloke, you say words like enlarged and prostate. Me and JJ were little, you know, we were moving in our chairs a little bit. But that is the point, isn't it? In a way, it's to go through that discomfort. You know, when women talk about going for smear tests and mammograms, it's part of their daily language.
And I think that's the point
and it needs to be that
women are so much more used to, throughout their whole lives, having slightly invasive tests. I was talking to some men laughing about rubber gloves. I'm not going for rubber gloves. And I thought women have smear tests and all sorts and childbirth and all sorts. Men tend not to have to.
But going back to Harry and Meghan, away from Charles for a moment, this is interesting because this story has not come from Harry and Meghan's camp. This has come perhaps from the Palace camp that they may have been told afterwards and they may have heard from the media. This is not Harry and Meghan. Do you see what I mean? So what I'm saying is the fact that Harry and Meghan are now being slammed, quote unquote, for not speaking publicly about Kate and Charles, but literally this news has been let out by the Palace. But no one's going to criticise the Palace for saying, well, isn't it? Shouldn't Charles have gone and contacted Harry first? It's his son. Charles should have called his son and said, listen, dear boy, as we know he calls him, this is what's going on. But no one's going to say that.
But we don't know that. And we don't know that he didn't.
Right, OK, we don't know he didn't. But we also don't know that Harry may have not found out via... But you see what I mean? So the angle is...
We are in the realm of pure speculation
bad on Harry, but nothing negative about the royals there.
I do see that, but it is quite a lot later, and they still haven't. And you would have thought that there would have been... You don't have to say very much. You know, they know what they're like with the PR.
If your sister, I know they're royals, but if your sister was ill, was having an operation, would you go on Twitter and post and say, "Hey sis, hope you're doing well, best wishes"? No, you just contact her.
No, this is different. The Palace put out a statement. Kensington Palace put out statements. The Sussexes put out statements. Of course, they can have the private conversation as well, but you would have expected some kind of, you know, the Sussexes which are wishing.
At the moment, none of the royals have put out, apart from obviously Kate's had a statement out. Charles had a statement put out. But you don't go to Beatrice, you don't go to Andrew, you don't go to the Duke of Edinburgh. No one else is putting out statements on social media. Why do you expect Harry and Meghan to do so?
Because that's how they do. Because that's how Meghan and Harry do actually get their statements out.
Though? What would be, you know,
well, that's what I'm saying. You don't
emoji?
have to do.
I don't know if there's anything that could
wishing them a speedy recovery, you know, good health and a speedy recovery.
I think at this point the other issue here is with Princess Kate is we don't actually know what it is. So there is a chance that in terms of the body of what you say in any post, you might indirectly give something away.
You can still say we wish you a speedy recovery and we wish you all the best.
Well,
I think Geoff's right. I think they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. But I think on Kate's medical issues, in great contrast to the King, obviously she has decided not to disclose, and it's interesting there has begun to be a little bit of criticism of that now. And of people saying that people are assuming that it's possibly something gynecological, and in a similar way to the King, people are saying she's missed an opportunity to just be completely open about that. Now, I think she's perfectly entitled to privacy, and that if she chooses after the event, when everything's hopefully okay, to say, this is what I had, and maybe do some fundraising or whatever the area is, that's fine. But it's interesting that even saintly Kate is getting criticised for not telling us all what's wrong with her.
Meanwhile, William, the doting dad, he's going to take some time off work to stay and nurse his wife. People in this country, up and down, have family members who are sick. And we can't afford to stop working, and we can't afford to have 90 staff at home helping us.
But again, he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't.
Have you seen how many ladies are furious for going, isn't it great that he's looking after his kids? You go, what an absolute legend. Babysitting his kids. If you want to get in trouble, just use the words babysitting about man's own children.
Well done him. He's remembered he's got 3 children.
And a phalanx of nannies.
Chapeau to him.